What can we talk about today? Books! How about all the books that I read in the month of February? And maybe one that I didn't finish reading in the month of February. What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative. Today I will be sharing with you my monthly wrap-up for the month of February. This is where I will quickly recap all of the things that I read and what I thought about each one. Now, I do read a ton of short stories. I generally read at least one per day. I am not going to go over all of those in this video. That would take forever. What I will do is direct you over to my Instagram. Each day after I read my short story of that day, I'll post a little picture about it and a little mini review. Just a few non-spoiler thoughts about that story because it's hard to review a short story without spoiling it. So I try to keep it really brief, but that's where you can go to find out more about all of the short stories I read. So today we're just going to talk about books and manga. I read the Dressrosa arc of One Piece with my friend Una from the Codex Cantina in February. Well, there were a couple of issues that went over into March, but I've finished them now, so we'll just talk about that whole arc. As a whole, it's middle of the road for me. It had some great volumes in this issue, but it had a whole lot more middle of the road volumes, in my opinion. I enjoyed reading it. It was nice to revisit the characters. I don't know if I'll feel this way because I took a break in reading the manga, but I feel that the author, Eiichiro Oda, I feel that he sort of forgot about some of his characters, or he just chose not to showcase them. And on top of that, there were others that he really just kind of changed how he portrayed them. So I wasn't really happy about that development, but I've kind of got a hankering to go back and reread from the beginning and just keep it going continuous and see if it was just me taking too long of a break. Another book that I read, I beta read a book, and if you have not seen that video, I'm gonna put that in the cards for you. In that video, I talked about my fears of trying to beta read a book, if I'd be able to do that in a way that would be helpful to the author. I never shared the author's name or the title of that book, which will be released later this year, because I was doing a contest. If whoever could guess in the comments below, the first person to guess who the author is, I would be buying them a copy of that book when it releases. So definitely check that video out and get in on that action. But I love that book. In my opinion, it is the best the author has written, and I've loved everything they've written so far. Let's talk about Green Rider by Kristen Britton. This is a new to me author. I read this as part of a read-along hosted by Feeney Reads. I'm going to have that linked in the description down below. This is an older fantasy series. I want to say it started in 1994. There's no way I'm right on that. 1998. Close. Was still in the 90s. It's one I never heard about, never read until Feeney Reads started talking about it and promoting her read-along. I was not sold in the beginning. That quickly changed. Absolutely love it. I will 100% be continuing this series. I just had way too much scheduled in January and February, and I just fell behind on the read-along. I missed reading book 2 with the group. There's no way I'm going to be able to catch up. However, I will be continuing this series as soon as I can. Let's talk about Stephen King's Night Shift. This is part of a read-along hosted by the Bookish Drummer. I will link that down in the description below. We have finished Night Shift. We've just started Skeleton Crew, but it's a read-along of all of Stephen King's short stories. So if you would like to join us for Skeleton Crew, that info is down in the description box. But we read Night Shift. Overall, I did enjoy this collection. There were a few stories that I thought were duds, and I feel like he chose the most boring one to end on. But overall, the good far outweighed the bad. I'm glad I read it. I will definitely read through these again. Next in the pile, we'll just go ahead and talk about this one. Fyodor Dostoevsky's The Idiot. It's a read-along hosted by myself, Christy Lewis, Pei Veo from Attention, and the Codex Cantina. This is part of a 2-month read-along, February and March. It's still ongoing. But you're saying, why is this in your February wrap-up? Did you finish it early? You see there's a bookmark in here. No, I didn't finish it. I'm not going to finish it. It is a DNF. Bum, 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 bum. It started so good. I loved Part one. Part one was amazing. I flew through it like it was wildfire. Stunning. But hit part two and Dostoevsky does what he always does. He takes the characters he made so funny, so full of personality, so compelling, the reason why you're reading the story, and he just turns them into tools. They're lumps that have dialogue used to info dump and talk about the themes of religion and society that he's using them to do. I just wish he could have found a way to have them still be entertaining while getting his point across. He just never discovered the art of doing that. This is the third book by him. I've tried. I DNF'd Crime and Punishment. I liked Brothers Karamazov. This one, I'm done with him. I'm done with him. I'm not going to read anything else by him. I'm just over it. Next up, I read A Brightness Long Ago by Guy Gavriel Kay. The first thing I read by him was Tagana. I absolutely loved it. Like Tagana, though, I've discovered I cannot just physically read Guy Gavriel Kay. I have to have Simon Vance in my ears telling me the story. He just makes these stories so much better. I just can't do it. I can't do it just reading it. In my opinion, Tagana is far superior to this one. I didn't hate it. I liked it okay. I will never reread it. It just was an okay book. There were some really great character scenes and moments in it. That seems very typical of Guy Gavriel Kay. He really can write some great moments. It's like he has captured a part of that character's soul and just laid it on the pages. He is just unmatched in that regard. I also read The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden, book 3 in the Winter Night trilogy. Okay, there is something that happened in this book that wrecked me. It made me cry more than Ruin did by John Gwynne, Faithful and the Fallen, and that book has long held the record for making me cry. It just broke me. This book walked up to Ruin and was like, hold my beer. It destroyed me, but it was a wonderful end to the trilogy, and a lot of you are probably thinking that's going to be her favorite read of the month. No, it would have been, except I got to read the arc for Waking Ursa Minor by Helen Rye Peterson, and that book is amazing. I need to go look back and see what all I read in the month of January, but all I know is Waking Ursa Minor was my favorite fantasy read. It's an epic fantasy. It's the first book in her debut series, Riverdale Rising. That book slayed everything else that I read in the month of February. There is no comparison. It was amazing. This is a story that she got the first idea of when she was 11 years old, and she's been working on it here and there ever since and growing this world. And you can tell that she has put her heart and soul into it. It was a fantastic story. You know, I just love the different islands of the country that was split. I love the people, the tribes, the culture, the magic, the religion, the characters. It was amazing, and if you don't want to just take my word for it, I have tons of friends who read this book. Every single person, I believe so far that I remember, in case somebody's updated since I last looked, gave it 5 stars. Another book that I read and loved is Nana by Mark Towse. This is a horror story, which I also have a dedicated review for. So I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time on it. I'm just going to link that review in the cards and tell you to go watch it. That book was so good. I had so much fun reading it. There was a lot of really great horror in it. There were things in it that I usually don't like, but they worked. I know, it shocked even me. But sometimes when an author does something really well or it fits the story, they don't just throw it in for gratuitous sake. It works, it fits, and it's just a piece of magic. I love that story. In fact, he has a new one out called Crows. It's on Kindle Unlimited. Actually, both Nana and Crows are on Kindle Unlimited. Y'all need to go snatch those up. But Nana, oh man, if you were ever scared of your grandma as a kid or old people in general, you need to check that book out. I think the only other book that I read in February was Basil Broktale by Christopher Rowley. Another older fantasy series. I loved it. It was so much fun. If you're somebody that loves dragons, this one is dragon heavy. There's tons of dragons. Now, they're not magical dragons. They're battle dragons. I absolutely had the best time with the story. It was so much fun. Is it the best fantasy I've ever read? No. Did I have a good time reading it? Yes. Do I read for enjoyment? Yes. Did the book do what I wanted it to do? Absolutely. Hey, it's a 7-book series and I'm going to be continuing the series. It did its job. Also, they're all on Kindle Unlimited, which I'm kind of sad about because I liked it so much. I want to own this in physical form, and you can't just go buy them. So I'm going to have to be checking and scouring used bookstores in hopes to get my hands on a copy, because it's one I feel that I'm going to pick up more than once to read. As far as what that one's about, it is about a dragon named Basil Broktale. You find out how he gets his name. You also find out that dragons have to earn their place in society along with everybody else. So he does have a dragon boy called Relkin, but really Relkin is his boy, not the boy has a dragon, which I thought was an interesting kind of flip. Usually it's the person has the dragon, or the dragon chooses that person. I mean, it's more like Baz treats Relkin like Relkin is his servant, but they work really well together in battle. The boy's job is to pretty much protect Basil's flank. The little imps, he takes care of those while Baz is over here fighting the big, bad, dirty, ugly trolls. It's a great story that just talks about the two of them, their journey of trying to get into the Legion to be in the military in hopes that they can rank up, because if they rank up and retire, then they get land in exchange that they can live on. So that's the goal. But guys, that's gonna wrap up everything that I read book-wise in the month of February. Were you surprised to find out that Catherine Arden got usurped from her reign as being my favorite reads of the month? I'm shocked, actually. I wasn't expecting that. I just love the first two so much. I love the third one a whole lot, but Waking Ursa Minor was just amazing. I cannot wait for the second book in that series. But with that, I'm gonna let you guys run. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time with me today. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one.